big right hand. Paddy Pimblett. He's done it. Paddy the Baddy.
He's got the angle. He's got the extension.
And there's the submission. Paddy the Baddy is back.
He is chill and funny, and his antics make him look less than like a serious competitor. But once the Octagon closes, no one laughs anymore. Since 2021, Paddy Pimblett has dealt with UFC competitors who thought that they had the perfect game plan to derail the Pimblett hype train. However, they all learned the hard way that you should not judge a book by its cover. It's time to recall some of the most memorable moments in Paddy's career and analyze his opponents before and after fighting him in the cage. Versus Luigi Vendramini. By March 2021, 16 unlucky fellas tasted defeat at the hands of Paddy Pimblett, who also won the Cage Warriors featherweight belt in the process. When the big league called, there were no second thoughts. The Liverpudlian was welcomed to the UFC by Luigi Vendramini, a BJJ black belt and dangerous finisher whose previous opponents never survived to hear the final bell. Luigi is a well-rounded fighter, and he had all the reasons to be confident that he would quickly derail the Paddy hype train. Pimblett, a standout in the Cage Warriors organization, has gained significant popularity as a fighter in the United Kingdom. However, Vendramini aimed to demonstrate to the former featherweight champion that the UFC represents a distinct and higher level of competition than what he's accustomed to. He seems to be a popular fighter in his own country. He's had good fights in Cage Warriors. He has good jiu-jitsu and keeps a cool head during fights. He's good at selling himself on the microphone, a showman. But we'll see how he does on September 4th. Talk is cheap. He's been doing well outside the UFC. The UFC is a very different story. He could very well be the best fighter in England, but this is the World Cup. According to Luigi, the UFC is on a whole different level than Cage Warriors, and he was determined to prove this to Paddy in the Octagon. In an interview with Combat, Vendramini gave a shout-out to Pimblett for being a social media wizard, but didn't dive too deep into his skills in the ring. Now, Luigi isn't exactly ruling the internet like Paddy, but he was crossing his fingers that a standout win at UFC Vegas 36 will be all the talk he needs. This is not Big Brother though, right? This is fighting. I think he's going to lose, and he's going to get a reality check. I'm going to take his reputation down a few notches. I'm going to be humble out there. I know I'm going to win because I'm more prepared. I'm not worried about the hype that is around him. I'm going to knock him out, and I'm going to be a life lesson for him. I'll show him this is no amusement park. I want to knock him out or submit him. Because he's a jiu-jitsu guy, and he thinks he has good jiu-jitsu. I'll show him jiu-jitsu is not English. It's Brazilian. However, when the Octagon closed, Luigi's confidence slowly shrank as Paddy launched ballistic missiles. In the closing minute of the fight, the Englishman started to swing with heavy haymakers. The Brazilian returned with fire, but Pimblett's gun turned out to be bigger. The Baddy smelled blood and started bombarding Luigi's head diligently until his legs gave up, forcing the referee to save the Brazilian from paying additional medical bills. Imagine the disappointment when you do all that talk about beating the newcomer convincingly and, instead, getting viciously knocked out in the first. Vendramini had not much to say after the fight, except posting a picture with inspirational text about a week after the bout. Versus Rodrigo Vargas. After comfortably dismantling Luigi in the first round on March 19, 2022, the Englishman was matched against Rodrigo Vargas, a Mexican slugger who was not keen on leaving it to the judges' hands. Vargas, obviously not a big fan of Paddy, and described him as a kid who's never dealt with a real challenge. Even though the Baddy was a former Cage Warrior champion, Vargas thought Paddy was overrated, and he believed it showed it in the odds. Pimblett was a minus 500 favorite, while Vargas was a plus 360 underdog. The Mexican was confident he could pull off the win, as he believed Pimblett was overhyped. He also said there was a ton of holes he was eager to expose. I actually think he's a bit of a kid. He's got good things, but he's got a lot of bad things as well. He's probably overrated. I think he's got a lot of holes in his fights, and I'll take advantage of that. But like all UFC fighters, we're here because we're the best, and we'll try to take advantage of those holes. A kid or not, the Mexican was out to prove that kids like Paddy can deliver a war too. Vargas came after Pimblett hard, delivering rockets that dropped the Englishman momentarily, but the Baddy retained his composure and reversed the position. And then, out of nowhere, Paddy executed a beautiful judo throw that gained him a dominant position. He capitalized the moment by securing the opponent's back and then squeezed the life out of Vargas via a rear naked choke. Looking back on the loss, Vargas didn't see it as just getting outclassed by Pimblett's skills. He felt like it came down to something he didn't quite nail, rather than Paddy just being on another level. According to Vargas, it wasn't a case of being totally overpowered. He thought there was some specific thing he could have done differently to maybe switch the match in his favor. So in his eyes, it was more about a specific slip-up on his part rather than a big gap in skill. This is what Vargas told MMA Junkie in Spanish. I think it was more of my mistake. I looked at the video a few times, and I've been doing some introspection. I think the mistake was that I lost track of time. I really wasn't sure if it had been 2 minutes or 2 minutes and a half. So when he hit the throw, there wasn't an issue because I immediately pulled him into guard. But I lost track of time and I couldn't hear my corner at all. So by not keeping track of time and thinking the judges were going to favor him, I didn't want to lose that round. That pressure made me expose my back. I gave him my back. I stood up incorrectly. I was the one who made the mistake, and he knew how to take advantage of that. I knew he had a good back take and a good rear naked choke. I tried defending it, but it was already locked in. It was me who gave him my back. That mistake cost me the fight. Well, a mistake or not, he was the one who was tapping to avoid going to sleep early that night. Like the video so far? Don't be shy to knock out that subscribe button. Versus Jordan Leavitt. On July 23, 2022, Paddy Pimblett was set to lock horns with Jordan Leavitt, a name linked with one of the most brutal slam knockouts in UFC history. When the fight was first announced, Leavitt was pretty cheesed off. He felt like the UFC was serving up Pimblett some softies. Sure as heck, he didn't see himself fitting that bill. Now come Saturday, he was out to set the record straight. Leavitt had this solid belief that he was going to wrap things up in his favor because, hey, he had the confidence that his ground game was going to shine.
I feel like you separate all the flash from this fight. It's not very interesting at all. I don't follow him on social media, and I didn't really know about Paddy until his debut, so I don't think I'm going to be starstruck. I don't really see him as a star. He's just a guy that's 0-2 in the UFC, and he fought some guys that had losing records in the UFC, and there's plenty of guys in the roster like that. So I'm just kind of trying to separate this fight from the flash, and, on paper, I'm not too interested in this matchup, to be honest. So.
In addition to this, the game plan for Jordan was pretty simple. Finish the fight, twerk, go home. Plot twist, the fight didn't go according to his plan. Paddy Pimblett faced a tough first round against Leavitt, who wasn't giving in for an easy knockout. Despite some ground action and a close call with a guillotine, Pimblett turned the tide at the end of the round. With a slick move, he secured Leavitt's back and landed some heavy punches, making a strong case for winning the round. In the middle of the fight, Pimblett attempted to strike his way in, but Leavitt ducked under. The momentum shifted dramatically when Pimblett unleashed a knee, trapping Leavitt's arm with a body triangle. The rear naked submission was inevitable, marking Pimblett's third consecutive UFC win and igniting the crowd with a teabag celebration he had promised. Despite Leavitt's promise to twerk in victory, it was Pimblett who emerged victorious and twerked at the end. Jordan's reaction to his loss was rather humorous. He was annoyed by his loss and especially angry at the drunken crowd who hated him in the arena.
London's I'm never leaving the country again. America is the greatest country in the damn world. Throughout all of history, I don't need to visit anywhere else to know that for truth. But I'm kind of, I'm really annoyed that I lost. I'm still embarrassed. I still have Paddy fans that message crap to me. And I know if I block them, I just show them that they won. So I can't block them, so they're never going to go away. And I hate you. I hate you so much. But that's, part and parcel of this game. And I'm annoyed by the loss, but I learned a lot, and I'm never going to fight in front of a crowd as hostile as that. And then, in conclusion, people that get that drunk before 9 p.m. are degenerates. It was an entire arena of degenerates.
In the aftermath, opponents who underestimated Paddy found themselves humbled and silenced. What surprises lie ahead for the Liverpudlian? Stay tuned. And what do you guys think? Do you believe Paddy Pimblett is underrated as a fighter? How high do you think he would go on the rankings? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. Smash that like button and subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subscribers and keep the excitement going in the Octagon.